Hey guys, just wanted to jump on and address a couple things that have come up. I've been emailed recently and then always listening in on the group in the 40 plus BJJ Engage group about comments, concerns people have. And one of the things is typically, especially for broadly speaking, older grapplers, is about defense, because a lot of times, especially in the earlier belts, people find that they're on the bottom a lot. That's true of everybody pretty much, but the younger guys, faster guys, blowing around your guard, getting on top of you, smashing you. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that. And I also had a question from somebody via email that was saying, when we do positional sparring, even though it's just 3-minute rounds, I'm just absolutely destroyed after that. And you know, it's impossible, was what he said, to go slow or to kind of pace myself, because it escalates so quickly and it's like 100%. It just wipes me out to the point that I feel like I'm, dead. And this is an older guy in jiu-jitsu years at least. So I wanted to talk about that too, because part of the conversation I'm not going to have right now, because I've had it before, is about the training method. So if you're doing positional sparring, the wrong way to do that is to just go from 0 to 100% right away. It should be a progressive resistance, but I'm not going to argue with the whole training paradigm in your academy, so on and so forth. Just there is a better way. But I want to talk a little bit about how to make those situations less demanding, because strictly speaking, although it's great to be in great condition, you don't have to be in great shape to be able to, with just a few adjustments, make yourself way more efficient in those situations. Okay, so we'll talk about defense, a couple of points, and I also want to talk about hand in hand with that, how to work less hard even from bad situations. And although it will help you to have more years on the mat, you don't necessarily need to be high level to make these adjustments. We can talk about making them right now. So first thing is, in bottom positions, let's talk about, like, do I have to be using so much explosiveness? So how much strength, how much explosiveness do you use? Only ever just enough. A lot of you probably heard me say that before. And just enough is less than most of us think. So I want to be able to do moves from inferior positions slowly and still be able to make them work and not have to rely on the explosiveness. But let's be more specific. What does that actually mean? So let's talk a little bit about moving against somebody, running into somebody, versus actually connecting to them. I know, connection's kind of like a buzzword, but it's important, and this is why it's kind of like Hicks and Gracie's great contribution to the art. So from here I have Arthur. He's on top of me, okay, in a cross-sides position. And first of all, if I just have my hands here, I used to teach this years ago with a caution, but this is a very common position here where I'm blocking the hip, and then I create a frame here, and so I bridge, move against the frame. Right, it's very common, but I really only teach this as a distant backup now if your arm happens to wind up here, because it's very easy to kill this arm. Isolate this side, or kill this side, then isolate this side and kill that side. Very easy to do that. So really, I'm always looking whether his arm is here or on the far side of my head. To have my arm in the straight jacket position here, always pointing towards that underhook, okay? And yes, this near side arm's always policing that near side hip, okay? So he's got pressure on me, and a lot of times when I do my bridge from here, regardless of where this arm is, right now this is a better place for me to have it, but give me some real pressure in here. Okay. So he's giving me some pressure, and when I bridge, okay, bring my feet up close to my butt, I'm gonna do a directional bridge, everything. So from here, I go, and I run into him. And he feels my intention to bridge, so what does he do? He transfers a little bit of energy off the balls of his feet into me, and his chest blocks my chest, and the shoulder I'm trying to raise up, so as soon as I go, right? And this is where people will use so much energy, okay? And the thing is, I'm trying to use the explosiveness I was talking about, and the speed, the velocity, to bump him off. And even if I'm successful, it wasn't good jiu-jitsu, okay? So now let's look at it again. So this time what I'm going to do is, instead of thinking like going into Arthur, right, trying to move him
off me like this, right? We're running into each other. Okay, I'm really fighting against his body and not using the connection. I actually want to use his body to help facilitate where I move so I can sort of move around where he's at. So let me show you what I mean. So from here, from this position, okay, I'm actually, give me your chest pressure, shoulder pressure, right? So I'm actually pushing back into him here, feeling the connection. Now this isn't comfortable. You can hear my voice change, but watch what's going to happen from here, okay? Once I feel this connection, okay, I can move around it. So instead of that moment where I explode and he pushes back into me, okay, just give me that pressure again. Good, right? So I do it the first way. So you see that although he's got pressure into me, I'm not connecting to his body at all, okay? From here. Second, right? First, I draw the connection here to him, and now you're gonna hold me down again. Okay? So, and were you giving me the second thing?
No, it was
No,
not.
right, you felt it, right? So, you can do this once without Arthur from the side position. So from here, instead of just driving into him and he feels it and he pushes back in to cancel out, okay, what I'm doing is I'm pushing back into him. You know, I can't wait here too long because of the pressure in my neck if he does have a crossface. But then once I have this, I'm going around and I'm basically feeling where his body is and moving around it. So first of all, we're connected, not disconnected. And then as I lift, I feel his body and actually use that to rotate my hips into that little shrimp and then get bladed on my side. So I'm actually using his pressure. And you can see that even if he's giving me good pressure, I can do that slow and still be successful. Another example is mount. And everybody uses the UPA escape, right? First of all, actually let's turn for a second. If you let people mount you with your knees up, herein lies a lot of the problem, right? This is good. This is even better, okay? Because the moment that Arthur's mounting me, now he has no ability to get underneath my legs. And my arm's job, of course, is to keep the whole upper arm length in between us, right? So I don't want to have him, even if I do this and he starts to climb up, okay? He got to here, he can usually beat me the rest of the way, but I'm compromised already. So I always want to be here like this. Now I know he's over my hips, okay? If he's over my hips, it's much easier for me to create a connection, okay? That's why in his position, he'd want to be pinching in with his knees and sitting up off of me. But at the moment that I can capture one of his limbs, okay, in this case, we'll go on this side, right? So I capture this limb somehow, you know, different ways to do it, but I maintain this distance, I keep him down over my hips. So now, even if he knows what I'm about to do, I should be able to do it slow. I don't have to just go and explode, because again, then I'm trying to launch him off me as opposed to truly dominating his base, making his base, basically overtaking it and making me control his base, right? I want to become the center of his motion. I don't want to just be moving in space and him moving around me. So once I have this from here, yes, I can bring this in, right? Kind of pull it in close. From here, rotate the saddle a little bit, because once I make this slight rotation, there's no way for him to pull that foot out when we go, okay? So kind of pull that blade in. And now from here, I turn and look high, evacuate that space. I'm going to bridge to the apex. So if Arthur wants to try and base out with this arm to hold himself, I don't need to rely on speed anymore to do it, and we're going to go slow, okay? So go ahead and defend the position. Yeah, pretty much impossible for him to do that. Now if we come back, and I'm in a desperation situation, okay, first of all, again, if I've done this, he's already can attach himself to me much more effectively. So from here, I do all the work with my posture first, right? So my shoulder blades are pushed into the mat, my elbows are down, policing this. He's starting to have to find a way to break down my frames to advance, trying to get inside my lapels if I have a gi on. So as he goes to play his offense, right, I capture. I'm going to just take my time here. You're defending, okay? Right? So I can do that slow. If I do it fast, even if he isn't underneath my legs, okay, go ahead. So you're gonna keep your base now. And then you can start like fighting here, okay? No reason to fight that hard. From here, right? Really creating that connection. Then you can relax. And also just as a function of your initial body position, your posture, even if one of those moves does fail, you're gonna be able to feel what the next route is because you're relaxed and you're relying on more sophisticated body mechanics to accomplish the task at hand. So hopefully that's helpful, and go ahead and I would encourage you to isolate that, not going to 100 right away, but actually to break that down with a trouble spot and take the time with a training partner to isolate with some progressive levels of resistance live until you really figure out where those sweet spots are to make that work, so you don't have to over-rely on physical